went on Facebook specifically, and then he searched the girl's name. The girl's name came up, everything about her, where she lives, where she works. So it was even easier for him to know that this is the person I'm looking for. Her children, every information, the husband. So the man said, yeah, I know that you live in so and so place. You have 2 children. Your husband is called Mr. This and that. The girl started to shake and it was like, I have sent your information to my gang and they are going to track you up, and I promise you they are going to deal with you. What did the girl do to this man? Nothing. And gang members follow up on you and they do this to you, they do that to you. Because if he hadn't told the girl, nobody would have known this is what he's doing. Hello and welcome once again to another episode here on my YouTube channel. If you're new to my channel and my space, hi, my name is Becca. On this channel, basically I talk about nursing, I do lifestyle vlogs, videos, a little bit of me, fun and positive vibes here and there. So I created a post in my community tab where I gave you guys the audience to choose what kind of video you would like to see next, and according to the voting, about 50% of you chose to see clinical nursing related videos. And today, this is what I'm going to be talking about. So today I'm going to be talking about an evidence-based practice, and for the purpose of confidentiality, I am going to be, hiding a lot of information so that nobody knows where exactly I'm talking about or who in particular I am talking about. But this is a real life experience that actually happened somewhere in the United Kingdom in a nursing home where I had the opportunity to work for a specific period of time. And also the purpose of this video is to shed more light on the code of practice for the nurses that are working in the United Kingdom, so that you know the NMC of UK's code of conduct, so that you implement them whilst you are practicing in the clinical setting to safeguard yourself and to safeguard the people that have been put under your supervision or under your care. Right, so we had this patient, or we had this resident to put it, or a service user who was an ex-convict and came to the home that I was working with. I was on ad hoc basis, so like it was a temporary role that I was just working some shifts here and there to help them with staffing issues. There was this service user who was, or let's say who is, I don't know if he still is, or because it's an old story, I don't know where exactly the issue ended. Okay, so let's say who was a gang leader. So when we talk about a gang leader, is somebody who is literally like leading a gang or a group of people to do to partake in social vices or activities that are contradicting to society. So it could be robbery, it could be drug dealings, it could be anything. So he had a gang. It's just like being an executive of a company. So he had his own group of people who were doing stuff for him. So one day they went for an operation, and prior to that, he had already had a prison sentence where he served the sentence and came out of the sentence. And their kind of robbery was not just that kind of robbery where they were robbing at gunpoint. Okay, so it was kind of an advanced level. So they went to one of their operations. After he came out of the sentence, he still didn't change from his ways. He still went to get his gang, and they went on an operation. And I had a friend who was a prison service officer at some point. And I remember there was a point where this friend of mine came to visit me. At that time, I was living somewhere in London. It was close to a prison. So this friend came to visit me. And whilst we were going out of my building or out of my flat, we met a guy who just mentioned my friend's name. So my friend was like, hi, where do you know me from? And he said, well, I know you from so and so prison where you are an officer. And for those of you who do not know, prison officers, majority of them are not allowed to be on social media, especially those that are in managerial positions for confidentiality reasons, okay? So they're not allowed to be on social media. So this guy just mentioned my friend's name. And then my friend was like, oh, okay, hi, oh, like I remember you now. So he had finished serving the sentence, but he was on trials. I don't know how they call that. So they put a band around his leg so that they track. It was like a curfew band. So they track when he goes to bed, when he shouldn't come out of his house at some time. So he showed my friend the band on his leg to say that, oh, I've now been brought out of prison, but I'm still serving a curfew or whatever. So this is my monitoring band or whatever they call it. So he showed that to my friend. And then as they began to talk, he asked my friend, what are you doing here? He said, I came to visit my friend, who is me. He pointed me, I came to visit my friend. And then the appraiser asked my friend, where does she live? At that point, I wanted to pee my pants. Not because he was a bad person. He really looked like a nice person. But my point exactly is that you can't predict some people. All of us, you can't predict us. And to just meet a stranger and ask where they are living, you know, I felt like this kind of strange. What if he decides to do anything to me, or I don't know, but I wasn't just comfortable. And my friend also saw it, so he didn't tell the guy where exactly my flat was located. We had to go roundabout. We were sure that he wasn't anywhere around before my friend actually watched me enter my flat before he drove off. So when it comes to security reasons, I am very, very careful as somebody who has stayed around the prison, who has heard a lot from ex-convicts. One of my makeup artists in Central London told me how an ex-convict came out of prison to kill her aunt. This resident, back to the story, this resident I'm talking about, he came out of prison, came back to continue with his old ways. So they went on an operation, and whilst they were in the process of robbing at gunpoint, he fell from, because it was a flat, it was a block of flats which was up there. He fell and he landed on the wrong side. So he broke his leg, and in the process, he got paralyzed in both lower limbs. He was sent to the hospital, went through major surgeries, but unfortunately, he lost the power in his lower limbs. He couldn't walk again. And because it was a long-term something, he didn't have anywhere to go. So they brought him to this particular care home that I went to work on an ad hoc basis. But he was still able to use his upper limbs. He was still able to use his hands. He was still able to have access to his iPad. And you know, that kind of freedom of living that there is in this western part of the world. So he still had access to his electronic gadgets and everything. So apparently, whilst he was there in the home, he was still communicating with his gang members who were outside of the home, and they could do operation on his, you know, directives. These people are very sophisticated, just to say the least. From the experience I heard from that, my friend, the things that they do, even once they're in prison, they can do a lot more. Not to think of somebody who is outside of prison, who is a place of care. But what I don't understand is why the system didn't put some measures in place to kind of like keep track of what he does or his activities. Probably they thought that he wouldn't be that dangerous whilst he is in the care home, couldn't do much. But he took everybody by surprise. So whilst he was in the care home, he could still coordinate his activities with his gang members outside. Apparently, he was still keeping in touch with them. Nobody knew about it because obviously he cannot just go onto his iPad to see what he's doing. That is his confidential business. And he was very not nice, just to say the least. He was very, very nasty towards staff. Anytime that staff goes to his room to render care, to give medication, he's cursing out on staff, using very abusive words, the B word and all that towards staff. But people thought that he was depressed, or he was just going into dementia, probably because of his condition, but he really knew what he was doing. So the shocking part of the whole matter is that he was able to memorize the name of staff. At that time where we worked, the ID card or the ID badge that we were using had our full names. So you know, some of the clinical settings put your full name on your ID card. For example, this where I work, let me just fade out my details, okay? This is one of the workplaces that I work. Yeah, it's got my name. So anybody that wants to know my full name actually will know my full name. This one actually has my full name and my NMC PIN number. So anybody that wants to check me up on NMC with my PIN number can just check you up on NMC. This one also is from NHS, and it has your full name as well. So if anybody wants to know your full name, they know your full name. I don't think the purpose of putting out your full name is to just display your information or anything, but sometimes it defeats the purpose for which it was served. Some ID badges like this, I think, is what should be used in the clinical setting, yeah? And I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So it just says, hello, my name is Rebecca, okay? That's it. If you want to know more, you need to ask. I think that is just what managers and people in authority need to put into consideration, because you need to safeguard your staff members, okay? So this man was memorizing the name of staff members, and there was one day where he randomly burst his buzzer. He rang his buzzer in the middle of the night, and then one of the carers attended to him. He just mentioned her full name. Obviously, it's on the name badge. So the girl thought, oh, you've seen my full name and you can mention it. And some of the residents are so smart, so they know your names just by your name badge and they memorize it. And next time they see you, they can just call your name, which is nice. It makes you feel like your residents know you and you're happy they do. But in this case, it wasn't the situation. So he mentioned the name and said, oh, so and so. I think before then, the girl went there to give him care. So he knew that the girl was on duty. So he went on social media. He searched the girl up. And you know, sometimes the information we put out on social media, we tell our location, where we live, where we stay, especially like Facebook. You can show where you live, where you've gone to school, your family, your siblings. The app gives you that opportunity to put every detail. So somebody can just go on that app and see a lot of information about you and use it against you. That was just what this man did. So he went on Facebook specifically, and then he searched the girl's name. The girl's name came up, everything about her, where she lives, not her address, by the way, like where she lives was there, where she works. So it was even easier for him to know that this is the person I'm looking for. Her children, every information, the husband. So the man said, yeah, I know that you live in so and so place. You have 2 children. Your husband is called Mr. This and that. The girl started to shake and it was like, I have sent your information to my gang and they are going to track you up, and I promise you they're going to deal with you. What did the girl do to this man? Nothing. But he just had the time to go on social media to search this girl up. And I mean, only God knows the number of people that he has tracked that he didn't tell. And it was even by the grace of God that he told this girl that I have tracked you up and I'm going to make sure that my gang members follow up on you and they do this to you, they do that to you. Because if he hadn't told the girl, nobody would have known this is what he's doing. The girl ran out of the room quickly and then came to tell the nurse in charge at that time, that shift, told the nurse in charge immediately. Everybody was made to remove their name band, but obviously maybe it was too late. It was escalated the next morning to management and they had to put in a lot of measures, contacted the council because he was funded by the council. They contacted the council. They had to take him out of the home. After that, I don't know where the situation ended. I don't know where he was taken. I didn't follow up on that. So it was after this incident that some of the staff members actually came out to say that, oh, at a point in time, he was so nice to them. So they thought he was just being friendly and they had a lengthy chat with him. He asked them where they come from, where they stay, about their family, you know, where their children go to school. Is it a good school and all that? And they thought he was just being a nice person. So they had a chat with him. They gave him all these bits and pieces of information. And obviously they didn't escalate to any member of staff to say that, oh, this resident has asked me this question or we've had this conversation, you know. And after that, a lot of incidences happened that I'm not going to go into. But what I picked up from this story, recently I was doing my NMC revalidation and I was just reflecting over my own reflective studies or reflective accounts or reflective occurrences. And this just popped up in my mind and I was like, oh, this is a good reflection, but I didn't put it there anyways. But what I picked up from this story is that when you are doing your risk assessment or when you are doing your admissions as a nurse or as anybody in the clinical setting, you should pay attention to details, right? So if this person, you know that he's a gang leader, that person is a high-risk person. That's what I would say. It's not just to sideline this person to say that this person is this, but just for the mere fact that this person has extra chance of doing things that you may not know that he might be capable of doing, means that he's a high-risk person. Usually we term high-risk people as people who are prone to falls, who are prone to pressure sores, who are prone to choking. But I think such a person should also be flagged up as a high-risk person. Another thing I learned is safety whilst practicing in the clinical setting. You know, after that incident, if you give me a name band that has my NMCP number, that has my full name on it, I am so sorry, but I am not going to put on that wristband or that name band. Not because I don't want to show my identity whilst I'm practicing, but it's just because you don't know who you are interacting with. It's better to go with an ID band like this. Rebecca, that's fine. That's your first name they need to know. Anyways, because you don't know what this person can do. Also, if the NMC code says prioritize people. Prioritize people doesn't only mean prioritizing the service user or prioritizing the patient under your care. It also means prioritizing yourself as an individual, prioritizing your colleagues, prioritizing other residents. Because imagine this person barging into the office one day or sneaking into the office when there is nobody there and having access to patient folders and reading their care plans and getting access to their names and addresses and escalating this to their gang leader, their gang members outside to go to these other people's homes to cause them harm, or even you as a staff. So prioritizing people doesn't only mean prioritizing that person or that patient. Prioritizing yourself as a staff, choosing yourself first. Why do you think that when you go for manual handling trainings, they tell you that if you see a patient who is falling, leave them to fall? It's because in the process of preventing them from falling, you can sprain your back, you can hurt your back. It's happened a lot of times. So prioritizing yourself doesn't make you selfish. It just means that you are safeguarding yourself to be able to be mentally and physically available to continue to work and to look after the other people that are under your care. Another thing I learned from this incident is professionalism. So those that came out to say that, oh, we chatted about this resident concerning our personal life. One thing I always know and I've always practiced is professionalism at workplace, with my colleagues, with my patients. I don't share personal details. I have said this over and over. Until I am comfortable to know the kind of person you are, I have gone with you for a while, I am sure that I am sharing my personal details with this person, I will not say anything. If you ask me personal questions about where I live and all that, you see me, I just try to change the topic and you know that I'm not happy to talk about this topic, and then you have to change the topic as well. Because after this incident happened, some people had to even change their house addresses because they had given this man so much information, showing them. And you feel like, when you are talking to somebody that you are not too sure of who they are and they ask you some questions, you are tempted to say a lot. It has happened to me a lot of times where residents want to know a lot about you. I remember this resident that I looked after. She wanted to know a lot about me and I wasn't answering. Then she went about asking the carers about me. And I approached her, actually. I told her, I don't have a problem with telling you about me, but I just feel like I'm here to do my job. I have to be professional. If I'll go that friendly way with you, I have to be sure of who you are first. And at that time, I was just very new in that workplace. I didn't want to talk about myself until I was sure about what I was saying and who I was talking to and all the yada yada. So it's not just because I'm not a nice person, but it's just because I want to be sure. So don't take it as an offense. Once I'm comfortable with you and we vibe, we can talk a lot. So don't go about asking other people about me, do you get? But this incident is based on a real life story that happened. Sometimes employers don't really think about the safety of the staff that are under their care. So as a staff, as a member of staff, you have to take that personal steps to being careful, to make sure that you safeguard yourself, make sure that you are sure of who you are talking to in the clinical setting. Make sure that whoever you are giving your personal details to is the right person that actually give you your personal details to. And also, when we are using social media, let's be wary of the kind of information we give about ourselves. I mean, a lot of time people come into my DM and they ask for my personal contact number. Some ask me, where do you live? Where do you work? And if I don't tell you, that doesn't mean I'm not being nice or I don't want you to know. Of course, I want everybody to even know where I live so that when you're passing by, actually you know where I live. Like the school that my kids attend, some of the mothers know where I live because they visit us and we meet. They know that I'm on social media, but just like a random stranger just telling you where I live. No, if you come into my DM to ask me such questions, I will not answer you until I'm sure of who you are. And also when somebody has your contact number, there is this thing that is with social media. It's called search engine optimization. Once somebody has your personal contact number, when you go on an app like TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, when you have somebody's contact number on your phone book saved, the app can suggest to you to say that this person who is on your contact is also on TikTok, is also on Instagram. Do you want to follow them? Do you want to see their profile or all of those bits? It depends on the settings that you've put in your app, obviously, but anybody that has your personal number can actually go into your social media and have a lot of information about you. That's why I don't give a lot of information about myself In fact, what I show on social media is like 1% of my life. And if you have my contact number, then I don't know, I can count the number of people that have my contact number on their phone. So, I mean, it's just to tell you that to be careful as you're practicing, to be sure of who you're communicating with, to keep it professional, to prioritize your own safety, how you're practicing in the clinical setting. And as the British police will say, if you see something is not right, see it, say it, sort it. If you feel like you are not safe, or somebody has told you something, a resident has told you something like this, escalate it immediately, as this girl did. Because if she hadn't escalated it, nobody would have known that this is what the man was actually doing. But to the glory of God, he couldn't harm anybody. No staff member was harmed. A lot of risk assessments were put in place after that. People were followed up on. People were checked up on to make sure that they were safe. Those that had to change address had to change address, and everybody was safe at the end of the day. So I picked a page from this story. I don't usually like learning the hard way. If I do learn the hard way also, I share it with people for them to know. But I always try to learn from people's stories so that I don't have to learn the hard way. And I hope this video is of benefit to somebody. If you think this video was, smash the like button for this video. Comment in the comment section, let me know what you think about this video. Subscribe to this channel so that anytime I post a video, you'll be notified and be able to watch. Until we meet again in my next video, guys.